Have you ever reached a point in your life where suddenly nothing feels the same anymore? The things that once made you happy no longer fulfill you. Certain relationships begin to feel distant. Your goals suddenly feel meaningless. You may feel lost, disconnected, confused, and you start questioning everything you once believed about yourself and your life. If this is happening to you, you may be experiencing what many spiritual traditions describe as the dark night of the soul. And although it can feel like everything is falling apart, sometimes something much deeper is actually beginning. Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Aura Cosmic Harmony. In our Spiritual Awakening series, we've talked about the signs of awakening, the journey inward, and why relationships can begin to change as your consciousness expands. Today, we're going deeper. We're talking about one of the most misunderstood parts of the spiritual journey, the dark night of the soul. What is it? Why does it happen? What does it feel like? And most importantly, what may be waiting for you on the other side? Before we begin, remember that every spiritual journey is different. Not everyone experiences awakening in the same order, and not everyone goes through what they would call a dark night of the soul. And spiritual language should never replace professional mental health support. If you're struggling deeply or unable to function in your everyday life, reaching out for support is an act of strength. With that said, let's begin. What is the dark night of the soul? The dark night of the soul is often described as a period of deep inner transformation. It can happen when the identity you have built around yourself begins to break apart. For years, you may have believed, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what success looks like. These are the people I need. This is what will make me happy. But during spiritual awakening, you begin looking beneath those beliefs. And suddenly you may realize that some of the things you were chasing were never truly yours. They may have come from society, family expectations, fear, comparison, validation, your ego, or simply the version of yourself that you had to become in order to survive. And when those layers begin falling away, you can temporarily feel like you don't know who you are anymore. That space between your old identity and your emerging self can feel incredibly uncomfortable. This is why it is called the dark night, not necessarily because something bad is happening, but because you can no longer see clearly what comes next. Why does it happen? Imagine living inside a room your entire life. You know where every piece of furniture is. You know where the doors are. You feel safe because everything is familiar. Then one day, the lights go out. Suddenly, everything feels uncertain. But perhaps the darkness isn't there to punish you. Perhaps it is teaching you to stop depending only on what you could previously see. The dark night can begin when the external things you depended on for identity or happiness stop giving you the same sense of meaning. You begin turning inward. And that can be frightening. Because when the distractions disappear, you begin meeting yourself. Your fears, your wounds, your attachments, your anger, your insecurities, your need for approval, your expectations, and even parts of yourself you may have spent years avoiding. Spiritual awakening isn't always about feeling peaceful and enlightened. Sometimes awakening means becoming conscious of what was previously unconscious. And awareness can be uncomfortable before it becomes liberating. Signs you may be going through a dark night of the soul. One of the first signs can be a loss of interest in things that once defined you. Maybe you were extremely motivated by money, status, recognition, or achievement. And suddenly you begin wondering, why am I chasing this? What is all of this actually for? You may still appreciate success, abundance, and beautiful things, but they no longer define your worth. Another sign can be feeling disconnected from your old identity. You may look at your life and think, I don't feel like the person I used to be. But at the same time, you don't completely know who you're becoming. That in-between stage can feel lonely. You may also experience changes in relationships. Some connections deepen. Others begin fading. Conversations that once interested you may suddenly feel empty. You may crave deeper connections, more honesty, more peace, more meaning. And sometimes you may feel alone, even when you're surrounded by people. Another sign is questioning your beliefs. You may begin questioning everything you were taught about happiness, success, relationships, spirituality, purpose, and even yourself. You begin asking, who am I without all these labels? Why am I here? What actually matters to me? What kind of life do I truly want? These questions can feel overwhelming, but they can also open the door to something beautiful: self-discovery. The ego begins to loosen its grip. A major part of spiritual awakening is becoming aware of the ego. The ego isn't necessarily something evil that must be destroyed. It is simply the identity we create around ourselves. Our labels, our stories, our attachments, our fears, the roles we play. The dark night can make those identities feel less solid. Maybe you once needed everyone to understand you. Now you begin realizing that not everyone will. Maybe you needed validation. Now you begin learning how to validate yourself. Maybe you tried to control every outcome. Now life is teaching you surrender. Maybe you believed happiness would come when everything outside of you finally became perfect. Now you're beginning to understand that peace is something cultivated within. Little by little, you stop asking, how can I control life? And begin asking, how can I move with life? Why it can feel so lonely. One of the hardest parts of spiritual awakening is that inner transformation is difficult to explain. You can be surrounded by people who love you and still feel like nobody completely understands what is happening inside you. You might even wonder, why can't I just go back to who I was? But once your awareness expands, it can be difficult to pretend you haven't seen what you've seen. You begin noticing your patterns, your reactions, your attachments, your triggers, your conditioning. And the more aware you become, the harder it becomes to live unconsciously. That can feel lonely at first. But solitude can also become sacred. Because sometimes, the quietest seasons of our lives are where we finally hear ourselves clearly. The dark night is not about becoming someone new. This is something I really want you to remember. Spiritual awakening isn't necessarily about becoming someone completely different. Sometimes it is about remembering who you were, underneath everything you learned to be. Before the expectations, before the fear, before the constant need to prove yourself, before comparison, before trying to become enough for everyone else. There is a quieter version of you underneath all of that. And the journey inward slowly brings you back to that place. You begin choosing peace over proving, awareness over reaction, acceptance over control, love over fear, and authenticity over approval. What happens after the dark night? There isn't always one dramatic moment where suddenly everything becomes perfect. Often the transformation is subtle. One day you notice that something that used to trigger you doesn't affect you as deeply anymore. You stop chasing people who don't choose you. You stop forcing relationships that no longer feel aligned. You stop needing everyone to understand your journey. You become more comfortable with silence. You begin appreciating simple moments: the sky, the trees, a quiet morning, the people you love, your own company. You realize that peace was never hiding somewhere outside of you. You simply had to become quiet enough to notice it. And slowly, life begins feeling different, not because the entire world changed, but because you changed the way you experience it. If you are going through this right now, if you're in a season where you feel lost, don't rush to have every answer. You don't need to understand your entire life today. Sometimes transformation requires space. Allow yourself to rest. Journal. Spend time in nature. Meditate. Create. Pray if that is part of your practice. Talk to someone you trust. Take care of your body. And most importantly, allow yourself to feel what you feel without judging yourself for it. You don't have to force positivity. You don't have to pretend everything is perfect. Spiritual growth is not about ignoring human emotions. It is about becoming more conscious of them. Feel them, observe them, learn from them, and allow them to move through you. The dark night of the soul can feel like an ending, but sometimes it is the space between who you were and who you are becoming. The old identity begins dissolving. Attachments begin loosening. Your awareness begins expanding. And slowly, you begin returning to yourself. So if you're going through a difficult season in your awakening journey, remember, you do not need to have everything figured out. Keep moving gently. Keep listening inward. Keep choosing awareness. Keep choosing love. And trust that even in seasons when you cannot clearly see the path, you can still take the next step. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to Aura Cosmic Harmony, because we are continuing our spiritual awakening series and going deeper into every stage of this journey. And if you feel comfortable, comment below. I trust my transformation. Your journey may also help another person realize that they are not alone in theirs. Until next time, protect your peace, honor your journey, and keep moving toward your highest self. Awaken, uplift, restore, align.